As a child, I created a brand for my stingray fandom. I was self-proclaimed the hat because one day at Northwoods Mall, I found this Dr. Seuss hat that was red, white, and blue and decided I wanted to wear it at all the Stingrays games. And so I got 0-0 the hat put on my jersey, thanks to my dad. And then I just went, and I was just like a really loud, obnoxious fan, it was fun. But then there came that point in probably middle school where I was like, when do I not wear the hat anymore? And then one season I just stopped wearing it and it felt weird. It felt sad. But there's plenty of former Stingrays that still call me, the hat or hat man, at least a couple.
So, you having fun yet?
Welcome to this episode of the Late Game Podcast. I am co-creator Jeffrey M. Zucker, and with me is my fellow co-creator Jeff Tyner.
Lovely to see you, sir.
Likewise, and we're going into this kind of movie review phase, or at least types of episodes we're going to do on the pod. And I realized prior to starting, we had yet to settle on a potential name for these episodes.
Yeah, it can stay untitled in this intro right now, and then whenever the title is revealed, when the video drops, we'll have decided.
All right. We'll keep you guys in suspense. I thought we were just going to come up with that on the spot.
I'm not confident enough in my first two choices so far, so I think I want to sit on it a little bit longer. But I'm very excited to do them. We've recorded 2 of these now, and they've been so much fucking fun. So I'm very excited for this stage of the podcast. I think we're having a good time.
Before we transition, we'll dig into a little bit more around what we're doing with it. But, in the meantime, I know neither of us played this week. You're nursing a wrist injury. I was preparing for our Canadian launch and ended up skipping my game. I actually
Did you hear
didn't look to... No.
I was about to say, I don't know either.
I assume not good then if we didn't hear anything.
I feel like they haven't been quick to do updates, so I can do a little researching.
Yeah, I was going to say, I can just pull up...
you got more screens up. That's cool.
We won 10-0.
Wow.
Okay,
fucking right,
cool.
Boys.
I guess I didn't need to be there.
Nope. Man, so if I'm good next week, I think I know it wasn't the championship, so I assume next week is?
Yeah, actually, it looks like we've been scheduled for 8:30 p.m. on Monday against the dreaded Colonels.
Prime time. I love it.
All right, well, hopefully we'll be there.
Yeah, we'll see.
It sucks taking time off at all. I wanted to play last night especially because I'm not going to be here Friday, so no skates this week. But yeah, it is what it is, and it weighs on you enough when you just skip it that you're going to lose something. But yeah, it sucks more when you're injured and can't, even if you want to.
Yeah, I mean, in some ways I like it because it kind of takes the dilemma out, I think you made the right call last night, especially seeing the result of the game. It sounds like I understand those headspaces of it'd feel better right now to get this shit off my plate than kind of be the hanger-on for a 10-0 game. I wouldn't be pumped to be there. I don't like blowout wins. If it's a really douchey team is one thing, just to shut them the fuck up, but most of the time for example, my Pizza Boys on the South Sub League, we switched over to the Ice Ranch League, and we won a playoff game, but I don't know what our final record was for 10 or 12 games, but I think we only won three or 4 games, not what we're accustomed to. But every game that we lost, pretty much outside of one where no one showed, was 1 and 2 goal games. And those were fun, that's more engaging than just, taking someone out to the woodshed at 10 p.m. on a Monday. That's just, I'd rather be doing something fun.
Yep, I get that. Well, hopefully it was a fun time for those boys. And I guess we'll continue our playoff journey next week.
Yeah, looking forward to that. I think we're about to go to Canada, so I think that little time we're going to have on the ice will be a nice way to just test the wrist out. And Pizza Boys are back in action, the DU Pizza Boys on Sunday. So game time decision, I think. We'll see how Canada goes.
Yeah, I guess I didn't even think about that aspect. Are you going to be like good to mess
I
around
mean,
on the ice?
yeah, I'm good. If it hurts, I just won't do anything,
Yep.
but it'll be a good way to just test things out. And I've been trying to ditch the wrist brace, and I tweaked it again, but I'm going without it again today. Just, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I'm bringing it with me, but we'll see.
Well, good luck. We mentioned going to Canada tomorrow. Our day that we're recording today, Tuesday, September 10th, is the date that we've gotten wider distribution. The late game is now available in addition to Prime in the US, in the UK. We're now on Apple TV in the US, Canada, most importantly, Australia, New Zealand, Ireland. I might be forgetting one. I'm sorry. And then Fandango at home as well in the US, and on a bunch of your cable boxes if you have one of those in the US as well.
It's exciting getting it out there. Posted some stuff on Reddit today, getting a lot of great feedback from the Canadian beer leaguers out there. So I think this is the start of a new chapter here for us. Let's roll with it.
Yeah, I mean, I hope so. I think so. I mean, confident that that our movie resonates with a hockey audience. We know that there's certainly a hockey audience in Canada, and yeah, I hope it goes well there. And excited to hear additional response for those that hadn't had the chance to see it.
Same.
So yeah, looking forward to that trip. And what else though? Let's see. On the trip, on the way, I already downloaded Sunny season finale. Like, I don't love watching a very good looking show on my iPad, but I gotta watch that season finale. It's been out for like a week, so that's definitely on my upcoming watches. I don't really think I got to watch much last week. Jess and I, we pick a bed show, and so our Love Is Blind UK has been our recent one, and we just finished that. And it's interesting. There's like there's obviously the original, and then there's like Love Is Blind in a bunch of other countries, and it's like, all right, we're at least going to try the one that's in English. And I enjoyed it, but like, you can't 100% understand some of the accents, and then just culture is like a little bit different. So I think it's interesting, but Jess is like, I miss the usual one, so that's fair. But it's just a ridiculous show.
Oh yeah, I'm trying to look up what Megan's had on for us. It's also British like dating kind of show, but I want to get the title of it right. It's come on. It's called Naked Attraction, and it's yeah, it was. I watched one episode with her, and I'll say this: that the UK flavor to it made it a little more palatable. We're like talking about willies and just like, I don't know, it comes off a little more playful with their accents. So I think that helped. I will say this: having only watched the one episode, it was like weirdly like not weirdly, but just not what I was expecting, and like really positive vibes. Like, yeah, there were a couple of cut dudes, but like a lot of them were just doughy guys, and like they were getting compliments on their body that they wouldn't have gotten otherwise. So in one way, I was like, well, that's kind of uplifting and good vibes to it. But I didn't find myself really wanting to watch any more of it. So I think Megan's going solo on that one. But just to button what you're watching, yeah. Saw Beetlejuice this weekend in the theaters. I mean, Beetlejuice, the new one. It was very fun, very fun. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I want to check that out for sure.
I wanted to watch the first one before jumping into it, but I just got busy. But even then, like, I think Megan had watched it, so like there was a good blend of extra details she caught, but like it in no way hindered my viewing. I forget what the actor's name is, but like the dad in the first one, was outed as a pedophile in real life. So the way they handled killing his character and like the workarounds for not having that actor involved. I don't even know if that actor's alive anymore, but like regardless, they animated a sequence to show you how he died. He was in a plane that went down, and then he survived that but got torn to shreds by sharks, like, and it's like Wallace and Gromit animated it. And then it was really funny. I was laughing a lot. And Michael Keaton, Catherine O'Hara, Winona Ryder, Jenna Ortega, it was a lot of fun. It was really good.
Nice. Yeah, I remember watching the old one back in the day.
Yeah, you mentioned that you reminded me that there was a cartoon. You mentioned that the other day too, that you used to watch a cartoon. And I totally forgot that even existed. That was such like a weird, gross cartoon, and I liked it.
And I know somebody threw it. I forget which platform put it up on streaming recently.
Yeah, I wonder. Um, but yeah, that's about, I've got Megan on. Oh, we got Megan to watch Goodfellas because we've been on The Sopranos, and that was, I hadn't sat down and sat through all of that in a while, so that was a lot of fun. I mean, Leota and De Niro and Joe Pesci they're just the best. They're so fucking good in it. Um, Also, would be remiss to point out that my South Carolina Gamecocks actually did a fun game that I got to watch on Saturday. Beat Kentucky 31-6. That was fun. And a shout out to our Clemson fan late game fellows, Tyler, Grayson, K-Dog. Clemson beat the shit out of App State, so sorry, Noel.
Yeah. Nice. Well, yeah, definitely have been feeling that the football vibes are getting going. And that just means we're that much closer to hockey getting started. And I know Spittin' Chicklets had their first division preview out today, so that means we're getting close. And yeah, I'm excited for the upcoming NHL season.
Same, yeah. I'd like us to get that fall crisp in the air. I'd like it to drop out of the 80s and comfortably into like the 60s. But we're getting there. There's been a few chillier days that are reminding me that we're close. Yeah, very excited for us to get fully in the fall.
Agreed. And, we mentioned, let's see, promised to mention merchandise on all these shows now. So go to thelategame.com, check out our merch. We've got some fun stuff there. Great hats, great jerseys. And if you see us at upcoming events, you can get some stuff there as well. And definitely tell all your friends and family to check out the Late Game. You can just go to thelategame.com/stream if you want to just see everywhere that we're available. And now we're going to start, with this new movie review that we talked about. And, we're starting off with hockey movies. We started with Slapshot. Tyner, do you want to go into kind of how we got on this?
Yeah, I always figured, to keep this podcast going, we can do only so many kind of interview the cast and crew behind the scenes style interview episodes. So I figured whenever those started to slow down, we made a hockey movie. We love hockey movies. It just seems like a very natural progression. And those are also my favorite kinds of podcasts. Like one movie per episode and you really dig into it. So yeah, I mean, that's how it kind of quickly came together. I like us running through them kind of in chronological order, to kind of see the progression of the subgenre. So we're starting with Slapshot. Youngblood's going to be number 2. We're just going to go on down the line. And then, after hockey movies, who knows? Maybe sports movies. Maybe we'll settle into the 90s. And I feel like that's a sweet spot for a lot of us. So I think we got a lot of directions to go. And I'll say this, we've recorded 2 of them so far. It's a nice excuse to just see any of our late game boys. Proton, it's always a delight. Everyone's adults. We have our own lives. We have a lot going on. So sometimes it takes something like this for us all to just to sit down and actually enjoy each other's company, So I just love it all, man. This was a blast to record. We love Proton, Slapshot. I mean, we hadn't watched it in how long, So like to dust that off, fresh eyes on it. It was very fun, and I'm so stoked for this episode and all the ones forward, man. I think this is going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, agreed. It was like a good kind of first other person's hockey movie to watch since our movie. Yeah, it was great. A lot of fun digging in with Proton. We'll keep doing that. I mean, regardless of what path we go after hockey movies, for me, Little Giants has got to be in there. So
I was thinking 90s kids movies because that's like the golden era of kids movies. So yeah, it seems like I think because Heavyweights was another one that was right on my mind of like, I think there's a lot of connective tissue there. So I think that's a no-brainer. Yeah. And just, I had this thought earlier talking about Slapshot is I think we all agree, and we've said it before, that Miracle is the gold standard for hockey action. But I think Slapshot is the gold standard for like penetration into the hockey world. Like I think that's as much of a touchstone with the most amount of people in this group of fans. So it's like you say hockey movie, and well over half the people are going to say Slapshot.
Yeah. Yeah, Slapshot's like the hockey movie, and like Miracle is too, but in terms of, like hockey culture, it's Slapshot.
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, so much of this, I just straight up, it was as if we watched it for the first time, for a lot of this movie. So Proton was the right guy, I think, to get this kicked off with. I think we were all on the same page, and this is going to be a fun time.
Sweet. Well, if you haven't seen Slapshot recently, either pause and watch it real quick, or maybe you'll want to watch it after you listen.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, I don't know if we need spoiler alert for a 50-year-old movie, but we're going into details here. So either you know this movie and it'll make you want to rewatch it, or if you're like me, I dust off a fresh washing before listening. I think either way is great, though.
Sweet. Well, without further ado, we will bring Proton into the mix and talk about Slapshot.
Well, hello, and we got our baby boy Proton Factories right here. How are you doing, cutie?
Dude, I'm doing good, man. How are you?
I'm living the dream, and I'm seeing your smiling face. Trying a little something new here. I don't know what we're going to call it yet, but little TLG movie watchings, movie parties. So how are we doing, Z?
Good. Yeah, excited to get on the hockey movie train and dig deep there, and feeling good and excited for us to launch in Canada. This will probably come out after we have, but that's what we're in the middle of right now.
Yep, available in Canada. That's going to be hot. Well, yeah, so we talked about doing some hockey movies at some point, so we are here now, and I'm pretty stoked that we get to start this process with Proton. So I guess first, I haven't really talked to you in a little bit, so what's going on in Proton's life?
Dude, just staying busy. I mean, the day job is so goddamn busy. It's crazy. And then I'm mapping out for 2025 for the for where I'm going to go with Proton Factories, what towns I'm going to hit, where I'm going to go. So I have that. I have a little
Fingers
map
crossed
of that.
for Denver this year.
What's that?
Yeah, I hope we can make Denver a possibility.
I hope so.
I know it's been a struggle.
I know this is 3 years that I've been waitlisted, so we'll see. If anyone out there has any strings they can pull, let me know.
I think that late game buzz will get you over the hump.
Yeah, right, exactly. Well, now I won't be in Artist Alley anymore. I'll be in the celebrity section, so I hear that's a lot easier to get into.
That's what's up. What's your most recent con stop?
Where was I? Oh, I think Boston was my last one. I was in Philly, and then I was in Boston, which both cities were crazy. It was awesome. It was a good time. I got to go to a Phillies game in Philadelphia, which is nice. I'm a big Phillies fan. And then so it's cool to go at home instead of going to Atlanta. So that was
like
cool.
A road fan, yeah.
Yeah. So it was nice not getting glared at while I go to my seat. So but yeah, no, it was awesome. And then we did Boston, which was really cool. It's a really cool city. And then and so then now I have, where am I going next? Oh, I'm going to Cincinnati. I don't know when this comes out, but maybe you'll see me there. I don't know. But I'll be in Cincinnati, and then I'll be in Detroit for Motor City Comic Con in November. So, and I think that's it for the end of the year. So
get you some chili on spaghetti, boy.
That's right. What is it?
Is that a Cincinnati Hattie thing?
Was it Skyline?
Skyline chili. Are you familiar?
Yeah.
Z?
A little bit.
Yeah.
It's. I like the dogs, the chili cheese dogs, but the chili on spaghetti, as someone who was in Ohio for a little bit, I just never got on board.
No, so what was fun is I did Cincinnati last year, and so then it was kind of like everyone was split between whether it was Skyline Chili or Gold Star is the other place. So
there's another spot.
Yeah, so you were either pro Skyline or pro Gold Star, and so that was kind of like I had a running tally on which one I should go to. So we tried Skyline, and I enjoyed it. So, but yeah,
they go heavy on the cheese. I like that much.
Oh my gosh, do they? It was great. I added the onions and everything, and I mean, there are handfuls of cheese on top. Like, it's crazy. There's probably more.
I can't say no to handfuls of cheese.
Dude, you can't. So, yeah, it was really good. And then those dogs, I mean, you get more cheese than bun, dog, and chili combined. Like, it's all cheese. So, I was stocked up for a couple days after that. But, you know, it the chili helps it come out.
Oh, yeah, dude. It does even out with all that cheese. Can't hang out with Proton without talking about poops. That's what it's all about.
That's why I don't hang out with him too much.
Well, you're one of our few active beer leaguers. Me and Z are pretty active. What's going on in your beer league world?
Oh, man, dude, we suck. So, we made the playoffs this past season. Because there was only 4.
Does everyone make the playoffs then?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because there was only 4 teams in our league, so we made the playoffs. So no big deal. And then I think we lost like 5-1. So but
strong playoff numbers.
You know, the thing is when you're on a shitty team like that, I have to refer to my plus minus, and it's always good. So you know, I can't really I can't skate the whole 60 minutes, guys. So
I love that. I can already hear it on the bench. Well, I'm even right now, so I'm +1. So I don't know what you guys are doing.
There's a guy that we all know, Billy. This is a couple seasons ago, and he's on my team, and he used to always make fun of me for keeping track of my plus minus. Until he was -8, and I was like, And
I assume you're the one reminding you were keeping score on that one.
Oh, absolutely. Every time he came to the bench, I'm like, man, that's another minus, dude. No,
well,
I like it.
Well, Z and I played earlier this week, and not to brag for this boy, but he had a nice little goal from the slot here. I just got to hype him up a little bit.
Oh, look at that! On purpose.
Yeah, I'm a superstar. I mean, I threw it at the net on purpose. I don't know where it was going to go, but
yeah, that's what I do from the blue line. Is it's if I get a pass, I'm like, I'm going to shoot this as hard as I possibly can, and in the general direction. I have no aim. Like there's.
Yeah, I just kind of like flub it toward the net and like hope that the fact that it's bad is confusing, which I think it sometimes is. Like some of my best goals are like. I just like fuck up. And so the puck, like the Kevin one in the movie, like I've done that before where like go for a slapper and barely touch it. And that's scored. I mean, it's pretty tight.
It's like
the change up.
Yeah, exactly. The old change up. Yep. That's so funny. That's awesome. So you guys won?
Yeah. Tyner got hurt, but
yeah, I had a little prick 2-hand my wrist on a breakaway. It was real fun. So I'm going to be out for a little bit.
We lost one of our stars during the playoffs.
Yeah. Fucking losers, man. But real hockey. Let's talk about what I think is. I don't even think there's any niche example of a first hockey movie. I think this is just it.
I didn't like research hard to be like, were there hockey movies at all before Slapshot? But like, I don't know of them.
I certainly don't either.
Yeah, and like I was like I had to look it up, but like this movie came out 47 years ago or something like that.
I was talking to my mom this morning, and she was like, "Yeah, it was when my dad was stationed at Fort Bragg, right across from the MP, the police office, the MP office. My dad was an MP. They had their on-base theater. She said we all saw it for fucking 25 cents, and that's like she had a friend in high school who moved from Connecticut. That was her like window into hockey, and then that was kind of like the second notch before it like consumed her life as a parent. But yeah, no, it was cool that's mind blowing. 25 cents for a movie. And we looked it up. It made $28 million or $30 million or something.
It was a $6 million budget, which it said was like tens of millions in our day. I forget. So
yeah, it's fucking nuts.
And also in terms of it being the first, it's certainly the first one I've heard of. I just found a list on Wikipedia called List of Films About Ice Hockey.
I added us to that not too long ago. If you scroll all the way down, are we there? Are we there? Because I added it.
I didn't even know. I wasn't even looking. There's 10 before Slapshot, but none of them that I've heard of. Are we on here? Yes, we are the most recent.
I created a wiki account just to do it. Get us on the map.
Hey, don't tell on us. You're not supposed to do your own Wikipedia. So
well,
it's kind of a
I don't
secret.
trust other. I'll be that nerd. I don't care.
That's true. Yeah, you don't want to know how the sausage is made. Just know that we're on the list.
I tried to make us a page though, and that was way more involved than I wanted to be. So I'm going to leave that up to the fans. Hopefully,
yeah, maybe one of our super fans out there can make us a Wikipedia page. And it's interesting. The one listed first on this hockey film is called King of Hockey, 1936. A teammate's punch causes hockey star Gabby Dugan to go blind.
Whoa. Damn, I think we have to go back.
How about this one? 1937 Idol of the Crowds, John Wayne as a hockey player who wants to buy a chicken farm.
What the fuck did you just
say?
Okay,
I got to do a couple more of these. The Game That Kills, 1937. After a player dies during a game, coach's daughter Rita Hayworth digs for the truth.
Dude. Man, we're going to have to watch all of these, I think.
I'm going to skip a couple, but Olympic Honeymoon, 1940. A honeymooner is mistaken for a hockey player and invited to play for England.
Dude, that's like Sudden Death. That's where Sudden Death got their idea from.
I mean, it's pretty awesome.
Is that on the list of ones to watch? Because I'll come back for that one.
We'll have
Nick
to put it on there.
Yeah, Nick Case brought Sudden Death up to me, and I was like, maybe we have a list of like hockey adjacent movies like that too, because Rizzo wants to do The Love Guru. So we've got some stuff to work with too. But yeah, Sudden Death's an all-timer.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a few more on that story. We'll put the link in the notes. That's a fun list, and yeah, we'll have to see if we can track down some of those like 1930s hockey movies.
Dude,
John Wayne,
wild.
Chicken Farm.
John Wayne.
I mean, I assume they don't show ice in that one because I can't imagine he could skate.
Yeah, I picture a wide shot of someone else, and then it's just John Wayne hanging on the boards after that. Oh man, that's fucking rad. So yeah, jumping into this, I forgot this movie had a fucking cold open, like it's an episode of The Office or something. I guess before we fully jump in, Proton, I know you mentioned this to me, but like, what's your history with Slapshot? Because I was going to say we're kind of that generation where it was completely socially acceptable for an 8-year-old to watch this movie, like, and no one blinked an eye.
So yeah, but here's the thing: is like my background with hockey in general is that like I did not come from a hockey family. I didn't. The only reason I actually wanted to bring this up with Z before. The only reason I was able to play hockey as a child is because I was sponsored. And that I had, because you had the guy that does the thing in Denver that sponsors kids. So I was one of those kids. Yeah. So I was one of those kids that got sponsored to play. But yeah, as far as like, I didn't watch this until much later. I was probably in high school whenever I saw it for the first time. But yeah, like there was no shortage of rated R movies in my mom's house for sure. I definitely remember seeing RoboCop way too young and Nightmare on Elm Street and all that stuff. Cause I had older brothers too. So it was, but just Slapshot, my family just, I didn't come from a hockey family, so no one cared. Although, I'm sure my mom liked Paul Newman, but
I mean, who didn't? What a fucking stud, right?
God, man.
We were talking, Z and I were talking while watching it. I mean, his fucking wardrobe in this movie, anyone else would look like such an asshole, and he looks so fucking cool.
He's so cool. Yeah. Yeah, Darcy has a huge lady boner for Paul Newman, and I was like, hey, I was texting Tyner, and I was like, hey, we get it, like.
Yeah, I mean, I have a man boner for him. I mean, look at that guy. Get over it.
I get why he has a legacy for like being this fucking stud. I mean, like, is this how people are going to talk about like Brad Pitt in 30 years? Like,
does Brad Pitt have salad dressing? I don't think so.
Yeah, that's a big problem, honestly. And Tyner, I think we should go into our history with Slapshot. I mean, I remember watching it as like a peewee on bus trips, so like, and going back and watching it and seeing how vulgar it is and stuff. And it's just funny how like we were just allowed to watch it because it was a hockey movie. Like, oh, it's a hockey movie? Sure. And yeah, I just remember watching it with teammates and thinking it was really awesome. Now it's like, it's funny because it's all about like beating the shit out of people. And that's what kids saw as the only hockey movie is just like about a team that beats the living shit out of people and wins.
Dude, I also remember watching it with teammates, and I remember like It's such a bad influence, and I just remember like if we would get in fights as squirts, it would be always treated as like that's so adorable, like none of us got in trouble for this kinds of shit. Um, and then my kind of history of this is twofold. Of like I watched this with someone else first, and then I remember like during the NHL playoffs, I remember Mike Modano specifically, but like they were interviewing all these guys about like it was about I think it was when Slapshot would be on TV, and these would be like things on the commercial breaks of like these NHL players all talking about their history with Slapshot, and it was always the same thing: going over to teammates' houses, watching it, and being allowed to. But what's this is like ridiculous too is that I didn't own Slapshot, but I had Slapshot 2 on VHS, which is so bad, so bad. But yeah, this first one, it is just the classic one. If you're over probably 30 years old, like this was everybody's like, I think we're of that age where it's 50-50. You either saw this first or you saw a Mighty Ducks movie first. Like that was the landscape.
This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. Sometimes as adults, we can lose the curiosity we had as kids. There are things like the guitar that I've always wanted to learn, but life has gotten in the way. Therapy can help you reconnect with your sense of wonder because your back-to-school era can come at any age. Therapy has been tremendously beneficial for me, and I think can help most people, traumatized or not, be the best versions of themselves. If you're thinking of starting therapy, try BetterHelp. It's online, convenient, and flexible with your schedule. Rediscover your curiosity with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/THPN today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/THPN. Yeah, and it ages better than I thought. Like obviously the politically correctness aspect has not aged well. But in terms of like as a movie, the look of it ages pretty well.
Dude, I can't get over how good the hockey looks.
Yeah, it looks good. I was impressed with. I completely forgot about that, and I was just like, oh, yeah, like a lot of the on ice stuff and the action shots are really, really good. Yeah,
you can feel the speed of the game.
Yeah, and that's a slower game back then, and it still feels fast.
Yeah, agreed.
I mean, they got what so many hockey movies after them didn't get in terms of like actually feeling the flow of the game.
I mean, the next 3 movies in my headspace are Youngblood and then like D1, D2. Maybe D3 is the next one too. And like those go in such the opposite direction of in tight, everything has to be slow as shit. And it's crazy how, I mean, I guess the difference is much like our movie. I think everybody in this movie plays hockey. Like Paul Newman at least has to know how to skate.
Yeah, he had some sweet backhand passes too. I was noticing in the movie too. Yeah, he had some saucers there.
And Z, I forgot to make this official before we watch, but you at least enlightened me of the hockey DB component of this. We want to make this a semi-current thing. But what could you tell us about? Was it Ned?
Yeah, the guy who plays Ned Braden, Michael Ontkeen. I don't know if I'm saying that right. From Vancouver, had a scholarship to UNH, University of New Hampshire, played 3 seasons. 2 of those seasons have stats on HockeyDB. 68-69, 29 games played, 23 goals, 17 assists, 40 points. So pretty solid player. I mean, you can see that he's a good skater in the movie.
And one of the better actors, too, like of the hockey guys. Yeah. And his IMDb picture is like an old version of him. So I didn't look closely, but I assume he had a full acting career after this too.
Yeah, I had to look up one of the guys because who was it? The guy, the real like sleazy guy that was like talking about hooking up with everyone.
God, that guy was so sleazy
and gross, just disgusting, but like accurate.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Anyways, I had to look up his IMDb whenever I finished the movie because I was like, where the fuck have I seen that guy's face before? Sister Act 2 is where I remember him from.
I have a touchstone with him too, and it's the Michael Moore movie, Canadian Bacon. He plays like a CIA company guy. Yeah. Dude, that's so fucking wild. Dude, there's some big fucking names here. M. Emmett Walsh, who I most notably for me is like the granddad in Gemstones. like I've never seen him young in my life. And then I saw him in the background of like the bar scene, but then he has like a one-on-one scene with Paul Newman. I'm just like, holy shit, that's him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man, just Paul Newman too.
Yeah, you were right about that guy Michael Ontkeen that played at UNH, had a big career. He was in 30 episodes of Twin Peaks, a bunch of other things. He was in The Descendants. I don't know how big of a role it was. Yeah, dude's been in a lot of stuff. So it's cool to see like a hockey player turned actor, and then getting that opportunity with Slapshot. I assume that was. I'm looking now, but I assume that was one of his first opportunities to kind of showcase his talent. Looks like he had a few things before it, but.
They're going to be saying that about some late game guys, you two included.
We'll see. Anybody needs us.
Yeah. Just call Z for me. That works.
Yeah, I got it. Most of the late game peeps, just come to me if you want them in your movie. I'll work it out.
Well, yeah. So this movie, the cold open, I feel like is kind of ahead of its time. I'd be curious to see if that's in other movies of this time. But like, I think the cold open's dope because you get two things right off the bat. Is like you get a little bit of a hockey lesson subliminally, like within that scene for, that's like, I worked for the Stingrays. That's like a big problem in like minor league hockey is like people don't want to watch our sport because they don't get it. So like that really hit me kind of right off the bat. And then goalies are weird. Sean Shapiro, case in point. But like, yeah, so it's like, it's a pretty efficient and fun cold open that I wasn't expecting.
I love that cold open too.
The guy who plays the goalie is hilarious. I know I've seen him at like some events over the years. Yeah, he's definitely kind of like the goofiest, off the wall kind of guy.
Good use of a French Canadian that they tried to replicate with Keanu Reeves and Youngblood.
That's true. It didn't work out as well for them. No offense, Keanu.
What a legend. Both of them, yeah.
What I really liked about the cold open too is that you were talking about people not getting the sport. And you were talking about working with the Stingrays. Did you not? You don't enjoy hearing everyone yell "shoot it" whenever you're on the power play.
Shoot!
Yeah, you're at the red line. Shoot!
My favorite is when they do listen and shoot, and then it immediately goes off a shin pad.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, what do you say now, motherfucker? Like.
I love the thought of you standing up at a Stingrays game and saying that.
What I mean, as like the 12-year-old version of myself, I might have done that. I was a real sassy fan.
Okay, we got to take a break here. Proton, do you have any familiarity with Z's alter persona from Stingrays games?
No, not at all.
Do you want me to do it, or I would love from the source, like to you describe your standard look. It's so badass.
As a child, I created a brand for my Stingray fandom. I was self-proclaimed the Hat because one day at Northwoods Mall, I found this Dr. Seuss hat that was red, white, and blue, and decided I wanted to wear it at all the Stingrays games. And so I got 00 the Hat put on my jersey, thanks to my dad, and then I just went, and I was just like a really loud, obnoxious fan, it was fun. But then there came that point in probably middle school where I was like, when do I not wear the hat anymore? And then one season I just stopped wearing it and it felt weird. It felt sad, but there's plenty of former Stingrays that still call me, the Hat or Hat Man, at least a couple.
Fucking love that. And when we had season tickets, I think we were the Zamboni side. I can't quite remember, but we were the front row, but it was the raised one because of the things right behind the net. So I would see Z down there, and
the Hat.
We kind of knew who each other was. Yeah, I'm sorry, the Hat. And we kind of knew each other, but not enough for me to say hey and wave. And I was always jealous that he had. It was usually you, and I feel like sometimes Jeff Sellers, and I knew Jeff Sellers a little better.
Yep.
But I was always.
I'm pulling out a prop for this. You guys keep going.
Please do.
I hope he's got it.
So I say all of that to picture that kid getting up with the fucking Dr. Seuss hat and say, well, yeah, what do you want me to do, motherfucker? God.
Dude, Z and Mr. Suspenders are
dude, fixtures. And Mikey, the 220 dancer.
That's right.
Oh, dude, I was jealous of him. He got his own graphic on the.
I was real jealous of that when I was 9 years old.
Tyner, whenever you worked there, I remember that they had hired. Remember that hype guy that comes around to all the games? You know what I'm talking about?
Cam, like the fan freak.
Yeah, he's like
I
a
remember
super
reading
fan,
an
and
article
he like
about
gets
him.
everyone to start clapping and stuff and all that stuff, you know, and he like throws out T-shirts and stuff. I just remember I was watching him, and he rolls his ankle and falls. He was so into it. And he's like going to walk down the stairs as he's like yelling at everybody, and he rolls his ankle. He's like 2 sections over from me, and I'm like just watching him, and he rolls his ankle and he falls like down like 3 or 4 stairs, and then he just comes over and he sits in it. He sits in the chair, and he's just like, just get the camera off me. Get the camera. Like it was just like.
You're probably his favorite character in the late game too, and he's gonna watch this. And you're gonna break his heart.
I mean, it was just not everyone saw it, but I did, and I'm not making fun of him, but god damn, that was funny. Oh,
that's a hot fucking jersey.
So a few years ago, my first The Hat jersey was on like the OG Stingrays white jersey, but the second one came with the Wave jerseys.
Hold on one second. Keep talking.
You're getting one too, and then. So, the original had the quotes on it. I think my Wave one did have quotes. Unfortunately, for the anniversary, like 25th anniversary of this team or whatever, a few years ago, they couldn't add the quotes, sadly. But I did. I had to decide how I was going to order it.
That I have not seen this. God, it's a beaut, baby. That's the best jersey to have the hat for.
I mean, this jersey was all time. Like, if anyone out there knows of a Jared Bednar jersey from this era, I will buy it from you. I've been looking for it for a long time. I want to get Bedsy to sign it, put it on my wall so I can enjoy looking at it every day. I'd prefer not a replica. I want the real thing. Hook me up.
That was the first Junior Stingrays team I was on.
I was so jealous of the jerseys you guys had. I was in house league.
I don't know where mine is, but fuck, they were so cool.
Dude, so it must be in a box somewhere, but we had it. I saved it for Archie, but it's a random thing. Is that I didn't even have that jersey. We went to go visit Darcy's friends in Connecticut, and her friend's husband was like, he's like, "Hey, I got something for you," and it was the original Stingrays like white jersey, and I was like, he had never been to Charleston or anything, and I was like, "How did you even get this?" So. It was well traveled. It was pretty cool.
That's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
I love to hear it. Okay, so we're at the title credits now.
I
just remember.
Yeah.
I remember after the cold open, like it going to like a game where everyone is just super fucking angry to start.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. Do we go right into? Yeah. So the title credits are like the national anthem, and we're like on the flag for a weirdly long time, which I'm sure was just like a cheap, like let's just do this real quick and be done with it.
The flag's like on a string where it looks like it's flying.
Yep.
And they played most of the anthem in the movie, so it's like,
oh yeah, they did the condensed version because I remember Z sitting right next to me. He's like, "Are they going to do the whole anthem?" And then like we kind of jump into the game. But yeah, you're right in the hockey, and like you said, it looks good. It's fast. Like people are really trucking out there. And then, but we do a good thing, which I think we try to do in our movies, like show the absurdities of beer league. They kind of lean right into the absurdities of like small market minor league hockey. With first we have the radio show, and then we're right on the drunk dude at the face off. He's going to piss himself if he gets run, and just I think it's pretty efficient right off the gate of like showing you the world you're in, yeah, it's just I really. Like, again, I've said this before, but yeah, surprised how fast and cool that hockey looks.
Yeah, I agree. And it's like with that guy that's like drunk and about to piss himself, you can tell how serious everyone takes the game, It's like, I got shit faced on the bus, You're like, oh, all right, well.
Dude, especially
he's absolutely
in this era,
blasted or whatever.
Right? Like, I mean, the era that went into the 90s, maybe even the very early oddies of dudes smoking cigarettes and intermissions and like, it was a different fucking world back then, man. I love it.
And I don't remember what happened that made me write this down, but I wrote assaulting women in dressing room ? So I guess that happened in the movie too.
I'll tell you, I know exactly what that's referring to. So we're in the game pretty quickly. We catch, the dude's drunk. The attendant sucks. This team sucks. They have one hot shot, Ned, who scores, but no one fucking cares. And I forget what the scoreboard was, but they're getting their shit rocked. And then like smash cut right into like a mall fashion show and just like reinforcing that, small market bullshit that these hockey players have to do. And so the assault you're referring to is the guy saying he's going to show his dick to all these women. He's like, I don't even give a fuck. And the team owner, I think it is just like, what kind of...
Or the president or whatever, because the owner's the lady.
Kind of waves it off, and then you just hear a bunch of fucking screams from the other side of the curtain. So yeah, there's your assault.
Assault used to be silly.
It's rascals, which I mean, yeah, that's the stuff that predictably doesn't age well. Views on sexual assault, because like every now and then, Paul Newman is like, oh man, he's real progressive for a time. The way, like, that's a pretty progressive representation of bisexuality with the scene with some titties in it with Paul Newman. And then Suzanne, yeah. And then, he's accepting of it. He gets it. I feel like they kind of put it in 70s terms for, some dumb lug being like, yeah, that makes sense. I like looking at titties. Why wouldn't a woman? Yeah, I get it now. But then like, I forgot, God, he calls the owner.
He does something
son.
Really awful. Oh
that's
my
like
God!
the
Yeah,
worst
he
gets,
says he says a thing
like,
to the owner's son like that. Her kid looks a certain way, and it's really
Yeah.
super fucked up.
It's
And
like,
God
those are the
damn.
moments which I love them because they're almost surgical in that like you can have this whole scene going and then it's just like 5 words can bring it to a screeching halt.
Oh my God! Like,
And again,
talk about a fucking insane.
8 years old and parents are like, oh, it's so fun. It's a hockey movie.
Yeah. Oh my God! The fact that we were fucking watching him say that about that kid at that age.
And it's just going right. I can imagine the shit that went over.
I mean,
my
I'm
head
sure we
when I was a
repeated
kid.
it.
Oh yeah, dude. Me being 11 years old, just staring at those boobs, I'm not hearing a word that's being said. I'm just lasered it.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. That is my most memorable scene from the movie by far. Like, it's the only scene I could always picture.
I vaguely remember what they talked about. Like I was
Right?
Oh, I never knew until we watched it on this watch. I never knew what they were talking about.
Yeah,
That's pretty awesome, though. Given all of this like vulgarity, etc., I was incredibly surprised to see the writing credits belong to a Nancy Dowd.
Yeah, I had to be. We got an NHLer, Jim Dowd. I wonder if there's any relation. But clearly had to have been a hockey wife or a sister or something, like very clearly. I wonder, like, it's almost like she just went around the fucking country shadowing these minor league teams. Because, I mean, the culture, what I really liked, and
I mean, she's from Massachusetts, so that explains it.
That's a hockey town, baby. The whole state. I mentioned this to Z. I feel like the movie Major League, which is a way bigger deal than this, kind of rips off a lot of the team stuff. Like, really, I mean, like, kind of the overarching plot too. A woman is going to like shut the team down, and you have this ragtag bunch of crew, and we see them on the road. But I really think everything that has to do when you have a scene with more than a few of the team guys, like, they really fucking nail it. Of what it's like to be on a team.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I agree.
The next note that I have after all of the fashion show stuff is just Paul Newman oozes class, that fucking coat, the little fur coat that he's got. Exhibit A in something no one else can pull off, like the Ryan Gosling drive jacket. I can't tell you how many doughy fucks I saw in college trying to pull that off.
Hey, some of us could. I'm just kidding.
John Calamino was rocking that in 2010 in dental school for sure.
Well, it's just like going to conventions and people in Deadpool cosplay think they're Ryan Reynolds, and I'm like, you're not. It's
that's one of the most handsome, charismatic men on earth.
Yeah,
so.
and he's actually funny. So, and you're not. So
yeah, I don't think guys get that. You're not tricking women into thinking you're that person. You're just highlighting the difference. And you can be a normal, good-looking guy, and you're highlighting the difference of how not Ryan Gosling you are.
An element I liked in this movie was that, it kind of you get that vibe that like the fans hang out with the players. These minor leaguers are part of the town. And like when you listen to interviews of older NHLers, even Gretzky, some of his interviews talking about like, being 70s and 80s in Edmonton, it's just like, you were part of the town, treated, people were glad to see you, but you were treated not the way you are now with, the fandom and the cameras and bullshit. It was more like,
I was just about to say, yeah, it's the phones.
Yeah, I feel like it had that.
there was anonymity back then. So if you were, especially in a place like Edmonton, which is like all about the brand, you know, like if someone's a binge drinker, like, oh yeah, that's so-and-so's bar, we're not going to fuck with them, you know, like we're going to let this guy binge and we're not going to talk about it, you know, or just people had a little more sense of privacy then, you know?
Yeah, 100%. And you also get the vibe that like in this shitty dying town where the factory's closing, like these hockey players are just like other people who have it terrible in this place, in this Rust Belt community. You know, it's not like they're getting paid NHL dollars.
And they feel the hit of the mill closing, you know, like, cause that affects them directly. So it is kind of like we're all on the same team here. So like when the town suffers, it sucks for everybody.
Yeah. Yeah, because by them closing that no one could buy tickets or anything, right? And everyone was leaving. Is that what it was? Yeah.
Yeah. That's like the big setup. So I think it was a great setting, this Johnstown, Pennsylvania, of like, it was just like, you don't see towns like that in movies, man. And like, that's all, again, I went on a rant with Z earlier this week about practical locations. Like that's why I love the 70s and 80s, especially of cinema, because there's no replacing going to these weird places you don't see all the time, you know?
Yeah. Like real things have more character.
Right. It's not the same 3 spots over and over again, you know, where you can spot this building.
When you see the mill, that like downtown stretch, like where the fucking Ned's wife is flying the van down that road, like all of those little locations, like they make the movie better. And like, Z, did you tell me this team came around after the movie, right? The Johnstown's Chief. It wasn't.
Yeah, Johnstown Chiefs. They named themselves because of Slapshot.
Dude, and Proton, did you catch that they play in the Federal League?
I did catch that.
Are you familiar with like the Fed today?
I'm not. I know that it's still around, right? But yeah. I knew that it was still around and that it was an actual league, but I didn't catch anything more than that.
Well, yeah, Z looked it up when we were watching. I thought the Fed was around like going back this far, and it's a new thing, right?
Yeah, it's a relatively new thing named after the Slapshot League.
Oh, really? Yeah, I thought it was an old thing too. I just thought it was real and that it was, it had been around since.
Relatively new, like last 15 years, probably.
Okay. Yeah, no.
Talk about influence on the hockey world, though, man. Like,
well, remember, Tyner, you and I, we played against a B League team, or adult league was the Chiefs. Remember that?
That was a fixture in Charleston. Yeah, Kevin Miller had to play on them one of those Binford years. It was just, he was like, man, it looked like they were having a great time over there. Wish I could do that sometime. Yeah, after the mill getting established, we now we get the Hansen brothers, and like what a fucking
and they changed the. Yeah.
Well, then also too, before we get to the Hansen brothers, what's Hotshot's wife's name? Lily.
I forget Ned's wife. Yeah,
Lily. Yeah.
Dude, Lily's driving is fucking.
Hell yeah.
I'm really glad you brought her up.
Yeah.
Because me and Z were talking when we were watching it. Like when I was a kid, I was just like, man, she's a real bitch, you know? Like, she just, what's her fucking problem, you know? Right. And then watching this as an adult, you're just like, yeah, no shit, she's fucking miserable.
No wonder she's drunk all the time.
That's fair.
Her fucking husband is, and she's like sitting in that park with,
dude.
Yeah, with,
with Paul Newman.
Yeah.
She's like fucking macking on some girl. It's like, yeah, no shit, she's fucking miserable. Oh, man.
Yeah, her fucking doing a Dumb and Dumber van across that thing was fucking. It was so funny. I was like, God damn!
Yeah.
Like, where she's coming?
She is. That's a low key great fucking performance from her. Like she
really
is in her own lane the whole time, and like I don't know, being in a one-on-one scene with Paul Newman. What I loved so much about their scenes together is. Like, again, Paul Newman oozing charisma, and it's just like, I love how casually he's just trying to fuck her. And it's just like, yeah, come on.
It's creepy now, but also it's Paul Newman, so it's okay.
That's what I'm saying. It's so disarming that it's Paul Newman. That's what it is. You know, like, he can get it, like, again, he can do these things, and it's not like, he never really crosses the line outside of hitting on a teammate's wife, you know, like, beyond that line, but just like, in terms of consent, you know, he's not like getting too grabby or anything. He's just like, come on.
He did slap her ass, but
yeah. Yeah, oh yeah. Those were the days.
Oh God.
Man. Yeah, 50 years ago.
Well, I mean, and then
call her Toots.
And, you know, you do have this you have kind of this like drab setting, like drab overlay that they've put on to this town, this malaise, and then the Hansen brothers pop into the movie, and that sort of turns on its head.
Oh yeah, no, great iconic character intros. And Z, you had a great fucking observation that like so much of quote unquote hockey speak is the cadence the Hansen brothers talk in.
Like they start, like I'm sure some of it was based on the real thing, but like I think most of it is just we've all fucking seen Slapshot and copied these guys.
It's like it's talking over. It's like the completing sentences and reiterating what someone's saying in like short syllables, short bursts. You know?
Yeah, boys. Yeah, we got this.
Oh, the boys. Yeah.
Yeah, let's go.
All-time hockey, huh?
Right.
Old-time hockey.
Dude, them. Any scene like. I mean, going back to the late game, like, you know, those locker room scenes we shot were the most involved because we only had one camera, you know, it's a lot of flow to that. And again, just to commend every one of these group scenes, like those three guys, whether it's Paul Newman or someone else talking, the way they're just, especially early on when they're like not playing at all, there's not an ounce of like angst that they're not playing. They're just so fucking stoked to pump everyone's tires. It's awesome.
I mean, their attitude's amazing.
I love it. Yeah.
All right, coach. Like,
yeah,
we'll be on the bench.
It's so for dudes who commit just dozens of assaults in a movie, the most wholesome trio of dudes.
Speaking of assaults, though, we don't have the first fight in the movie until 36 minutes in, which is impressive.
Yeah, we made that note specifically. You wouldn't think that, right? Like, what they do, I think, so good that was in my mind with the late game of just like, I felt like we started a little bit slow, but I also just feel like at a certain point, that was the pace of this movie. We wanted to reflect the night at Beer League, but the way that they can hit the ground running, it's such a cool way to pace that first act where you get to meet these guys. You kind of get a glimpse on the ice, but then I don't feel like everything else reinforces that. So you can get away with no fights until basically the beginning of the second act. Because these Hansen brothers are the agents of chaos, the agents of change that like turn everything on its fucking head. And then, I mean, I feel like they were getting a little oversaturated in the hockey world, kind of like in the oddies, you know, of like, and no, like, I don't blame them at all. Get fucking paid however you can. But like, I feel like there just wasn't a lot going on. Yeah, there just wasn't a lot going on in the hockey space then. But dude, I mean, name three more influential dudes. Like, you remember how, like, you could say, there was a time where you could say putting on the foil to any fucking asshole at a rink and you would get a laugh, you know? Right, like,
yeah. Absolutely.
They're just,
can you not anymore?
It was refreshing to watch them.
Yeah.
Right?
Was putting on a foil, on the foil, not go anywhere?
Yeah.
Does that not work anymore?
One of the guys I used to play with, he'd always be like, they brought their fucking toys, is what he'd always say.
Oh, man. Legit. One of my favorite fucking scenes, because I was expecting that the fucking toys line, like you get a glimpse at them unloading the toys in their room, and I thought that was that scene, and then it just kind of ends, and I was like, huh, and then we circle back to it with, it's like the cherry on fucking top are the overall, the no shirt overalls while they're doing it too. Like, god damn, it's so good. Yeah, have you met any of them? Because they kind of bounce around a lot doing events. Proton, have you?
No, I haven't. They haven't been at. I don't think they've been to any conventions that I have been to. It sucks because like I've been in the same room with like William Shatner 75 times, but like I never get to leave my table. So it's like we're in the same room, you know, but like I never get to go over there. But I've had certain like celebrities have come to my table before, which is pretty cool. So I've got to meet them that way. But yeah, no Hansen.
I just wanted to shout out specifically. I can't shout out enough of your art, but dude, those Clerks ones you did recently that you posted that got signed, those are so fucking cool.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, it was cool. I did those. I did the original of Dante. What's the other guy's name? Dante and
Randall.
Randall, yes, Dante and Randall. So I did that. It was this really sweet couple came to me in Richmond, Virginia, and so they were there. No, Dante was there, but not Randall. And so they commissioned me to make that as black and white with the grayscale markers. So I did that, And then they reached out to me. This was last year sometime I did that. And so they reached out to me and was like, hey, can you do a Jay and Silent Bob for us? We're going to meet them this week or, next month or whatever. And so I did that. And so then if you look on my Instagram, you can see where like they all four of the people signed it, which is really cool. And I've met Jason Mewes before, which is really neat. So he's such a nice guy. So
TD, Tutty, taking it to the house. Whatever you call a touchdown, they matter more at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Ready to place your first NFL bet? Try betting on something simple like a player to score a touchdown. Lines and odds are available on the DraftKings Sportsbook app for upcoming games. Ready to do a touchdown dance of your own? Score big with DraftKings Sportsbook, the #1 place to bet touchdowns. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code THPN. That's code THPN for new customers to get $250 in bonus bets when you bet just $5 and get 1 month of NFL Plus Premium. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 and over. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in New Hampshire, Oregon, and Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/ftball. NFL Plus Premium offer available only to new and former NFL Plus subscribers. Additional NFL Plus Premium terms at nfl.com/terms.
Dude, those are incredible. Like, if you sell prints of those, I'm so fucking down. I mean, it's also just like thinking back, like, I know, Tyner, there was a point at which maybe in our podcast where you'd said, I guess this is our podcast, but another episode where you said how like Shaun of the Dead had kind of made you think of movies differently and like making them and stuff, and like Clerks also. And yeah, for me, I mean, the first of those like Kevin Smith movies I saw was Mallrats. And I remember going back and watching Clerks, and like, yeah, definitely, like, I didn't necessarily realize it at the time, but it definitely like changed the way I saw movies and just like iconic characters like Jay and Silent Bob that can kind of travel in universe. I just think like there aren't a lot of duos like that duo.
Hubie and Guy Fry. They've gotten that comparison, and I think it was Talking Pondo, which I loved because, yeah, a wholesome Jay and Silent Bob.
Point being, Jay and Silent Bob are fucking iconic, man.
Yeah, and I've heard nothing but great things about Kevin Smith too, like that he's such a sweetheart. And the guy
apparently likes hockey. Let's get him to watch the late game.
That's right. If I'm ever at a convention with him, I will definitely put a "Be back in 5 minutes" sign on my table and throw a handful of those business cards at him. Where's I going to go with that? But talking about sweethearts, was it Brian O'Halloran is the guy that plays Dante, and like, he like commented on the photo the first time I posted it, which was really cool. So I was like, oh, yay! So yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, I should make them into prints, but I will, but I just haven't yet.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw Clerks 3, but like, I can't remember a movie that made me like cry as much as that in a long time, dude. Like it got me, man.
I have not seen it. I'm sorry. Yeah, no.
It was fun. I guess back on track.
Yes, sorry.
Mention of I'm all for it, baby. Ogie Oglethorpe got to be one of the best sports names of all time in movies. Like,
agreed,
no question. And the fact that like they seed him throughout the movie, and you finally get to see him at the end, and he lives up to it. Like,
dude,
yeah,
21 years old.
That was my thing.
40.
Dude, that guy.
I love that.
Dude, everyone's hairline in this movie was questionable. I was like, holy shit! And
they don't even wear helmets.
Yeah,
so they don't have that excuse. It's fucking up my hairline.
Agreed, yeah. I was telling Z,
because that's my excuse.
I had like real anxiety with all of the no helmets around. Just like, I was just like, guys, what are we doing? And even,
dude, all those high sticks, and like when one of the Hansen brothers comes across the net and like clotheslines that dude, I was like, oh.
What is with the stick violence?
Dude,
that's not okay. Shot. When did hockey players stop doing that? Like, was that a real thing that people were like hooking each other in the face with sticks on
sword, like stick jousting, basically? Because Youngblood
the
does
code,
the same thing.
I know was like, you don't fuck with people like that with your stick, but maybe that started from.
And like
eyes
back in
getting
the
lost.
day when they're fucking 40-pound wooden sticks, you kill them. Like you can kill a man with a one piece today, sure, but like it doesn't take much to kill a man with that back then.
Dude, you're swinging
With
a
no
2x4 is what you're doing. That thing is fucking crazy.
God, man.
I bet
was
Sean
just
knows
thinking-
how real these were or not.
Dude, yeah, we'll have to consult. Dude, I love like a Professor Shapiro segment where he chimes in with the hockey history and all of
You
these.
should just have him pop up in this thing as like a little like
Yeah.
little,
We can make
green
that work.
screen.
Yeah, like pop-up video
Even if it's just
style.
like, I have no idea. I don't know why they thought
that
I would.
would-
Oh, I forgot to mention, Tyner. I had found our picture with the Hansen Brothers that we took when we met them at our tournament in Toronto.
Yeah.
So we'll make sure that makes it into the pod.
Oh yeah, and I meant to mention that so two of the Hansons are actually brothers, and then the lighter
It's
haired
the Carlson brothers.
Yeah.
Yep.
So the lighter haired guy, when I was a peewee, owned a rink in Pittsburgh, and we played a tournament at, and he was I don't know if he owned it outright or if he was just like the GM of it, but like he came.
Yeah,
into
David
our locker
Hansen.
room. Yeah, he came into our locker room before the game, and like again, we are 11 and 12 years old. And it's not weird at all that we all are pumped
We all
to see him
know
because
him.
we've all seen this movie. And dude, he came in, he took pictures with all of us, gave us like an earnest pep talk before the game, of like,
That's
and
cool.
like the Eddie Shores and all that stuff. And dude, it was, it's one of those things that you think is cool at the time, but then thinking back as an adult, you're like, to take the extra time to do that to a team that's never going back to that rink, I just think that's so fucking cool.
That is cool. Yeah, are they still
So
doing
members of
events
the
or
late
what?
game cast, step up. Be like the Hansen Brothers. Endear people to you, our film, and everything else.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe not Kevin after a few beers.
Yeah.
Oh, Kevin's not allowed in kids'
No.
locker rooms anyway.
Oh, I forgot you meant specifically kids' locker rooms too. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want to see Sandy in a child's locker room. I know
No.
that much. Yeah. So, but yeah, Hansen Brothers, yeah, that fucking lunge over the net, like all of the montages of them. Like, so I have the note. It's a little further down of the Hansons' first shift that we see, which is actually a good deal down from where we've been talking about. Because yeah, those first few games, it seems like they're on the bench the whole time almost.
I think they are. They don't play at all until
And then we see them, and I always call it in my head the Hansen Brothers' first shift. I was like, I remember that being so funny. And it's so much, and I was like, yeah, I guess it's kind of cut like it's one shift, but I guess it's like over the period or something. But just that violence stacked on violence is so fucking good. I just like no other comment than that. It's fucking amazing.
It's so good. And I feel like too is like with those guys, they threw the most believable checks in the movie. As a, you know what I mean? Like,
it looks like there was some pain involved, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Oh yeah, dude. That's all I could.
Chris
think about
Curtis
was-
in our movie, like that one hit
Dude.
that we kept having to shoot. Like,
yeah.
I don't think it hurt him at all either. Like I forget, like, yeah, he's a thick kid. Like I was that age once. Like if we're so far removed from contact hockey. I think we're thinking of it one way, but still, like, yeah, poor Chris. He had several scenes where he's on the ass end of contact, and we had to do like 10 fucking shots of it. Oh man.
I mean, I do have my shootout scene where I took a beating. I'm not gonna lie.
That's true. We all heard it. We all heard about it every in between cuts.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I bitched for sure.
That brings me to the equipment. Like we were just talking about the sticks. Like they don't have a lot of equipment either. Did you notice Ned's shoulder pads were literally just shoulders? And with how that game was and how heavy those sticks were back then, Jesus fucking Christ, man.
His shoulder pads look like literally like I think if I wore a flannel shirt, it was more padding than those things.
One fun note I have is Paul Newman turtleneck with big necklace thing. That was one of his great looks. And he just had this like ball on his neck.
The leather on leather leisure suit.
Ooh, and he wore that for multiple scenes.
I feel like for Halloween we should all just be different versions of Paul Newman in this movie.
Dude, I love that. I have a note around here. That's also that goal song is so iconic. That dun 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 dun. It's just, oh man, I forgot. It was like a Manchurian Candidate thing where like I had forgot it existed, and then when the first time it's played, it just like it truly awakened a section of my brain that's been long dormant. It was cool.
Yeah, that was buried deep in there, and then it just came out.
The team dynamic is when they're in Reggie's room. Like there's like what 8-10 guys in there, and I just fucking love that, man. Like it's weirdly a lot more wholesome in these moments than I remember, because I think this is a little before toxic masculinity became a little more of a thing. And I feel like you start seeing that in more serious examples of sports movies of, I don't know, just
the camaraderie was legitimate. Like it felt like real camaraderie. Yeah.
And what was funny about that is that, you had the 10 guys in that room and then the Hansen brothers. They were not in there.
Yeah. Playing toys.
I can't say enough good stuff about those guys, man. And they're just so young. Like, I don't remember them looking so fucking young either, dude. Even, is it Jeff Hansen's the lighter haired one, but like, or Jack?
I think Dave is the lighter haired one. I got them up right here. And then Steve and Jeff are the two actual brothers, the Carlsons. Jeff Carlson, Steve Carlson play Steve and Jeff Hansen.
That's great. Yeah, I think they're so youthful, like they truly look like three youngins, and they're talking about like, I gotta save a dime to call mom or some shit.
How about saving pizza when they're about to get arrested? And then like my favorite is whenever that referee is like, whenever they're standing there, they got blood all over their face and stuff. Whenever they had that fight before the game started,
that's my favorite line in the whole movie. Now listen to the fucking song, dude.
I mean, they were all in their early 20s when they shot this. I just looked.
Yeah, dude, so good.
One thing I didn't really remember is that Reg Dunlop, Paul Newman, he has a lot of hijinks as a character. He's very sneaky. He's like setting up the Florida thing in the news and like setting this up here and there.
Every stop he goes,
he's like fucking with someone, playing a trick of some sort. I didn't remember how devious he is.
Yeah, I remember. What was it that the guys calling him old or whatever, and he was just like real sad about it, so that the dude would and then the guy said something to him on the ice,
right? Like when he was getting Killer to become Killer,
because you forget that he's the coach, like, and that's in his DNA, and like like that's the thing too, is he's not a hard ass the way your average coach was in this era too. He is a total players coach before that was a thing, so that's fucking dope. But dude, I fucking love almost any time there's a one-on-one with players, it's so fucking wholesome. Like whether it's, I love when Ned is telling the goalie about like, trade me. He's like, now what? Hang up. And like, just with Dave, with Killer, like going one-on-one, just like, no, don't let him say that to you, man. Like, just, I'm always on team, like guys pumping up guys, like I think we do a good job of that in our movie, and that's what I'm all about, and I feel like I'm surprised how much of that's in this.
Whenever Killer does that radio interview, and he's like talking about those religious vinyls that he was listening to about, like
he is, I think, the sneaky MVP of the movie in terms of just like every fucking, like you could see his motivation is so clear, like, and when I had forgotten about the cape almost had me crying. It was so fucking good, and so. Yeah, I can't say enough of good things about him. Oh, man. So another one more specific note I have of another great line is we're talking about the Hansons like hyping up in the locker room. And I forget what Dunlop or whatever says, but there's like the first two brothers say something along these lines, and then the final one is nailed him right in his mind.
Yep.
Oh, man.
So good.
Just goddamn gold.
It's kind of crazy, like looking at all the violence and intensity of just like how bad a look it is for hockey as a sport in so many ways. And like, is the reason that everybody in the South, at least growing up, when you brought up hockey, they always talked about fights. Is it because of Slapshot, or is it just because there actually are fights in hockey and that's all they've heard of? Like,
I think that's how I know that my mom was worried for me starting to play hockey whenever, and I'm sure that she was influenced by. I didn't see the movie, but I'm sure my mom saw it, whenever, and it was probably influenced that like, oh, all they do is fight all the time, and that's, and he's going to get injured, he's going to, something's going to happen, I'm going to lose teeth and all this, is that, I think my mom was definitely influenced by that, but, luckily, I still got to play, so.
It's definitely like a little column A, column B of like, this movie had a hand in it, but that's what this sport was like into the 90s, like, and that's why, like when I worked for the Rays, Rob Kincannon, former player, was my boss. And we were talking one day of just like, it's a development league now. And I say now, that was 10 years ago. It still is. But he's like, back in my day, we were characters. Like it was almost like 10% pro wrestling in that, like,
yeah, it was like story.
like Hampton Roads, we knew who their fucking coach's name was. Like it was wild. And then like when you had fighters, you know, like they played a role, but like it was also, he was like, we were just guys who didn't want to get a real job either. So it's like something about that lended to the grittiness of that game before the minor league system got like totally restructured.
90s Stingrays would be a great TV show.
Dude, I wish video was more readily available from that era. Cause I mean, the time capsule element of that. Yeah, this is so fucking cool, man. Cause they were big deals in the fucking town, dude. Like I remember like the Got Milk ads and stuff. Like
yeah.
That's right. I totally
Betsy with his shirt off.
Yeah, they were truly part of the community, man. It was like I remember hearing them on radio stations all the time, like in this show, like that, like in this movie. I mean, that really brought me back to. I mean, that's a different era. Like now, there's the Patrick Galls of the world. Like every team might have one guy who's kind of been around a few years, but not really, you know, because
like, oh, what's his name? Who's the? Oh my gosh,
Chernuchin?
No,
Chernuchin's mentioned in the late game. Yeah, he was there when I was there too. So
the guy you played against in that one thing, he's from here. He's from Hanahan, the big fighter guy, Nate Kaiser.
Yeah, UFC fighter. Yeah, and that's the thing I was gonna say is like it's hard for these guys to endear themselves because the money is so much lower than what you could make in other jobs. Like I play on my Sunday league with my buddy Alex Dahl, played for the Idaho Steelheads. And I don't know this, I haven't asked them, but he played 2 seasons and put up points. Like, so it's not a thing where he wasn't good enough to stick around. I think if my gut tells me he was just like, I don't want to make, you know, $30,000 a year anymore. I think, you know, so it's like, I think that factors into it too, where I miss those days. Like, I remember, Proton, when we first started hanging out, like, I think you were a season ticket holder to the Stingrays at a time where, like, no one I knew still was, and I thought that was so cool. So, I don't know, is that, like, your main squeeze for minor league hockey, or did you go to a lot of games when you were younger, too?
So I went to a ton when I was younger because I was playing, and, like, I remember when I was on Junior Stingrays and stuff like that, they would make us, like, well, not make us, but we had to, like, remember we had programs. You would like walk around the Coliseum and like sell programs and stuff like that to like help fund your team. Yeah, to help fund your team. But no, I used to go a lot. My dad hated going, but my mom would go. My dad was, I don't know, he was an old curmudgeon that like he was just like, it's too loud.
I was about to say it's too loud. Now that I'm an old curmudgeon myself, so I get it.
I get it, you know, and then he would one of his famous lines was he's like, you know, I haven't had a headache in 37 years, and this is the closest I've ever been to having one. And like, like okay, Dad, like relax. But yes, no. So I grew up. My mom would take me, or I would go with like teammates' families and stuff like that to like games and stuff like. So I went a lot whenever. What was it? Nosebleeds were $5. You could get glass seats for $12, you know, and then like. I remember those, and then
that place would be packed on a Tuesday night.
Gosh, it was crazy. Yeah, it was so cool back then. Yeah,
I mean, the hat was a big draw.
Yeah, word got out.
That's right. I was only there to see Jeffrey the Hat Zucker, so it was.
And Mikey the 220 dancer. Be real.
He was the headliner. Z was the opener.
Yeah, it's fine. I'll take it.
When we had Lil Puck. Remember that?
Dude, Lil Puck.
Oh, God, poor Lil Puck.
One of my childhood regrets involves Lil Puck. Me and my buddy, the late Tyler Young, we were running around the concourse, and there's poor Lil Puck, just some guy doing his fucking job, and Tyler's like, go kneel down behind him and I'll push. So I did. It did. We just did it and ran off like it was a total hit and run.
Terrible.
Poor LP.
Thankfully, that didn't come up in my Stingrays interview, or I would have lost the job.
It was that guy. It was that. Yeah. That's so funny. But yeah, so anyway, to get back to it, yeah. So as a kid, I did.
Y'all were mean.
I did not mean.
I apologize, not to Little Puck himself. Although I did find the charred remains of him. The suit had like melted when I worked for the Stingrays, so it was like because I asked what happened to Little Puck. and it was just like the melted remains of the suit, and I genuinely apologized to the remains of the suit, and like the little foot, like shoe cover was hanging out the box, and I just like put my hand on it and was like, sorry, bud.
Tyner's the reason we don't have Lil Puck anymore.
They burned it after that night.
I figured.
But yeah, so to get back to it, so I did go. I would either go with my mom or I would go with like teammates, families and stuff like that. But then like I got older. When I had met you, Tyner, I think I'd only been like a season ticket holder for like 1 or 2 seasons or something like that.
I think it was your first season doing it.
Yeah,
like or maybe a half season or something like that.
Something like we would do half seasons. That's right. So my buddy
it was you and Ken.
Yeah, my buddy Ken got really into hockey, and his family, his dad is still a season ticket holder now, and like his son is like, he's playing travel hockey and all this stuff.
Oh yeah, I filmed one of his Nationals games when they were here in Littleton a year or 2 ago. Yeah, and his dad came up to me. I had the Gamecocks hat on. His dad came up to me, and I was just I texted you this when I was. I think I took a picture of us. Yeah. To this day, what's the penalty song? That you guys would fucking do this to, and I do it every time I hear that song now. What was that fucking song? Do you know the power play song off the top of your head, Z? I should know it.
God damn it!
Da-na-na, 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 na-na-na.
Is it a Van Halen song or it's
like, yeah, I think it's Van Halen.
It's either Van Halen or
not Van Hagar.
What's the other? With the oh man, I think it's Van Halen.
I didn't mean the dude, good times, man.
To go back to Slapshot, I mean, I know we talked about how like it's supposed to be this big twist that the owner's a woman.
Dude, I love that.
Yeah, the way he comes up and he's like, "Hey, I'm here to talk to you."
Where's your husband?
Yeah. He asks it like 2 or 3 times, doesn't he?
We're like over an act into the movie where they start setting that thread up too of Paul Newman keeps asking the team president or whatever, like, you know, who owns the scene? It's a corporation, but like, who is the guy in charge? And yeah, I love that. That's a big twist is that it's a woman.
What? In this economy?
The only note I have that we've skipped over is there's a Nazi in the Bootster Club.
Yo, I noticed that
what
too.
The fuck?
What the fuck? And like, is it because it's like, watching that on tube TVs, do you think it just like kind of blurred out the SS and shit and like we just glanced over it? Like, Jesus Christ, man. Like, what is the context? First and foremost, like I know some bikers kind of adopted it for some reason, but like, what the fuck?
That definitely caught me off guard when I was there and I was like, oh, hey, there's some guy. I was like, he's wearing like an old school, like one of those old motorcycle helmets. And then he turns and he's like, ah, and I was like,
dude, swastika and SS. Like, whoa. I don't want to know that guy.
Yeah, that's definitely my least favorite part of the movie.
One more I have is Hansen Brother cowboy hats. I guess they were in cowboy hats for one scene.
I liked it. It's a good look for them.
But I love that it's all of them. It's either none of them wear a hat or all of them wear a hat. There's no one of them. I fucking love it.
One of the biggest takeaways for me on this one that I don't think I noticed before was that they're wearing full gear at the parade. What the fuck is that? Can you imagine?
What a fucking like jerseys would have totally sufficed, you know? Like
we got like I bet they like tried it. They're like they tried it with just jerseys and they're like, oh, they look too big. Like let's not get more jerseys. Let's just throw them in the full gear. Like
yeah, but the full gear is a flannel shirt underneath. It's not like they had shoulder pads.
Yeah, true.
But he had like when Paul Newman's running, which I don't know how you let your ex-wife into the parade so that she can move out. Which I thought,
what the fuck was it? Let's pause the parade just so we can have this moment.
But then he's like wearing shin guards and stuff too. It's like the full garb, right?
It's like he's a squirt getting dropped off by his mom. He's got the full geared up with shoes on.
Oh, that was definitely me as a kid, dude.
Dude, same. I used to have to, when I would come from football practice, I even had the dumpy plastic skate guards on so I could fucking waddle in like a penguin and then kick them off and run out in the ice.
I mean, now as a parent, I get it.
Oh, 100%.
I didn't remember it ending on a parade either. I'm a little disappointed it didn't go full Animal House and there's like a chyron for everybody at the end too. It just kind of ends. But I like that you, at the very least, you know the fate of Paul Newman. He gets a coaching gig and he says once he gets settled, he's going to bring all the guys up. I don't think they were fishing for a sequel. I just think it was like meant to be like, don't worry, the guys you love are going to be okay, kind of a thing.
But so the way I took, did he get that coaching job, or is he just bullshitting again?
I mean, I guess you don't know.
That's a really good question they left unanswered. I believed him, but
we did skip over the last game, which is like Paul Newman's like, I never played a clean game. I want to. Everyone, they're so endeared to him. He comes clean. He tells them he made it all up. He was hoping that if they got on a win streak, like it wasn't just to be a dick. He was trying to ends justify the means, and no one hates him for it. I fucking love that too. You know, like it was almost like a Ted Lasso moment of everyone just like gives him a fucking pass. And not only that, they're not just forgiving him. They're going to say, yeah, even though this really dirty style, they're like, what, 10-0 in their last games or some shit. They're like, yeah, we'll do what you want to do because you fucking earned it. And then I love those player intros. I mean, not a very nuanced take on a Native American playing hockey. But like the Randy Jackson looking dude who was a former NHL player I looked up. I forgot what his name was, but he was like 60 and skating out there. You had 45-year-old Ogie Oglethorpe. And then the fucking maniac of a captain. Dude, Dr. Hook, that guy has killed people.
Yeah, he was scary as fuck.
Oh my God. Yeah. That was a fun sequence of just like, it's kind of the reverse of the bit of like, okay, we're going to start playing dirty because the fans like it. And now we've been kicking ass. That's not really funny after doing it for a whole act. So let's have them get the absolute shit kicked out of them. Like the dude running away from the Native American guy and they both just eat shit in the boards. Like, dude, that was, again, it's shot, it's fast, and it's funny. Like he's coming for him.
Yeah. And my favorite too is, I mean, with the Hansen Brothers again, is how they're like super nice at the face off. He's like, hey, I'll buy you a soda after the game. And he's like,
so fucking good, man. And then the second they hear, dude, we used to have just, I guess, whatever part of the president's speech in the locker room that you're all pussies or whatever. We had some of that for the Stingrays. And I guess it was just like the few words that aren't curse words in that. And it was meant to played at the end of the game to like get the crowd going. So I can't remember exactly what part, but that's a great fucking like monologue. And then they just hear that they're scouts, so that it's just smash cut to more fucking violence. And oh man. And then do we go straight from that locker room to the fighting to the striptease? Like, is that all kind of in one jump, or is there?
Well, no, because then we see Lily and Paul Newman's wife come in, remember? And then
and dude, I'm sorry, not a glow up. You looked great before, and you looked like a fucking dork going like to a hockey game like that. I'm sorry, like you are beautiful. This is not a great representation of your look.
You remember 77, so maybe it was then, you know?
I mean, that's 100%. It's like, what's her name in Breakfast Club? Like the most reverse glow up at the end of that movie too, of just like, that's just where the values were. Her hair just went upwards.
Yeah. No, I thought she was cute before. So
total babe. Yeah. But yeah, that last game, I remember as a kid, never understanding the striptease, like conceptually, like that metaphor going right over my head. And there's two parts of that really stand out that I love. Is number one, it's like top three most visceral images for me is when one of the Hansons is slugging Oglethorpe, but he's just like not registering it because he's watching the striptease. And then like he goes down, gets his glasses, and like whatever it was, it's like, in my mind as a kid, I'm like, they're friends. I just think that's so cool that they can put pause on it. They have that, like, I don't know, just it's a weirdly warm moment to me. Yeah. And then how crazy Dr. Hook goes about like, this is a circus. This is a joke, like completely overlooking what they're doing.
And the ref, quite the performance.
Stole the show.
Yeah.
We talked about with the late game, like there hasn't really been a ref like featured, like we'd had Mark the ref in our movie, but like this guy didn't have a lot of screen time, but he really sold it.
I think he's just the ref at the end. That's not the listening to the fucking song ref, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I think you're right.
But I wrote down this quote is, come on, dummy, you won the game, and then with the trophy, here you go, you bum. It just throws those lines away so good. Like, yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, Z. It's so good.
Speaking of lines that are funny to me, is going all the way back to the beginning, is when that lady calls that dude a frog pussy. I was like, what the
What does that mean? Like, trying to visualize what frog and pussy could possibly mean? Dude, some of the shit those fans say, and that's right out of the gate. Right out of the gate. And how no one could give a shit less about the one good player scoring nice goals. Like, they're basically calling him a pussy immediately after he scores. Oh man. Well, I'm proud of us. We got through it. What is there anything we haven't hit that sticks out to you still?
The last thing I'll say is just I was impressed with their ability to execute like the chaos, like a lot of the scenes, especially on the ice, had this really chaotic vibe. And I know like from a filmmaking standpoint, that's like a hard thing to pull off, like when there's a lot going on like that, especially back in the day. So I think it's, a pretty impressive piece of filmmaking.
100%. Like they have, how we shot like our improv hockey stuff where we just set the camera up and was like, now Paulie's gets a few shots kind of a thing. I could notice that because everyone can play those chaos moments in front of the net. Like, I think that was really just like throw the puck on net and let's see what happens. And chaos is the right word. Like, even when it's not fisticuffs, it's fast, like it's not, I can't think of any moments that are slowed down on the ice.
I can't either. And yeah, it was obvious that all those guys knew how to play. So it was nice to see that. I wonder, do you think they had a dolly as well, like we did?
I was trying to think about that. They had to of some kind. My guess would have been on wheels, is my guess. Some kind of rig on wheels. But then sometimes it's just a fixed camera and they're just panning the tripod.
There's some stuff that's like behind the bench where they like pan across like that in the center ice.
And they're moving fast, man, on those ugly fucking skates.
Yeah, it's impressive.
Yeah, Proton, any other memories from this or anything stand out?
No, I don't think so. Just that one. I guess the one guy the overly creepy guy is the one that was like, yo, calm it down, man. Yeah. When they went to the figure skating thing, and they're like going around and stuff, and he's like, I need more ass cheeks and tits and what. I'm like, yo,
that guy is like so intense.
He's bringing the full team's horniness as the single conduit for it.
Well, it's like they're all like kind of feeling it, and then he like says something insane. They're like, yeah, man.
And then how about the quote unquote hunky guy who's kind of like fuck ugly, has the incestuous twins all over him the whole movie? That was kind of weird too. I got to shout out the Booster Club because the Stingrays Booster Club in the 90s was equally insane.
Did they moon everybody at Hampton Roads?
I don't think so, but I would not doubt it.
I mean, we don't talk about that night. Everyone's kept it to themselves, but...
Oh, man.
We didn't have cameras back then, so it didn't happen.
The person who had the seats right next to us where our season tickets was like an insane lady obsessed with Scott Boston. And she broke her leg one year. And my sister told me it's like, yeah, because she was chasing Scott Boston and got hit by a car. And I fully believed it, And so they captured that insanity with that Booster Club.
I love when like the buses are next to each other and they're like going nuts.
Oh, one of the Hansen Brothers where they're like, oh, you look like our mom. You're beautiful.
That was a great line.
So yeah, I'm not sure how we'll do. I figured we would rank the movie.
We should each rate them in some capacity.
Yeah, some kind of rating. I was like, we joked like maybe 1 to 5 egg salad sandwiches or apple pies or whatever. I don't know.
I think we can agree to a 5 scale.
Yeah, I think a 5 scale. So maybe we each just say whatever we want that unit of measurement to be in our individual ratings.
Actually, you know what you could do is if you have everyone, like I would rate it 4 peach pies and then everyone has their own pie. Like if it was like, and then, I don't know, maybe, I don't know.
Let's just each try our own this time.
I'm rhubarb, so.
I'm a rhubarb guy, so it's not a 1-to-1 comparison with peach pie because mine's better. Okay, I know what mine's going to be.
Well, so I think we should also establish like what 1 and 5 really mean. Like, should we set a bar?
I think we should rate the movie and the hockey separately, like the movie overall, and then how we rate the hockey stuff. I would think we can let Proton go first, or if you want me to go first to kind of set the tone, I'm happy to do either.
You go for. Put me in the middle.
Oh, baby.
So Slapshot for me on a scale of 1 to 5, the hats. I would give it five hats overall. Let's be real, it's the OG. And I would give the hockey like, I don't know, 4.5. Like I should probably give it a 5 too, but I'll give it a 4.5 because some Miracle has to be on top. So I will give it. You know what? Let's not do halves. I'll give it a solid 4. 4 egg salad sandwiches on hockey action as well. So 9 total stars.
Well, that is something.
9 sandwiches.
9 sandwich hats.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hats full of egg salad.
Yep, that's the unit of measurement that I'm going to use. Yep. 5 Dr. Seuss hats filled with egg salad.
All right.
Yeah, so I guess I will also go the egg salad route, and then I will say I give it the movie overall. I give it a 4 out of 5. I think is it's a solid movie. It's great. You can always throw it on.
-1 star for Nazis.
Oh yeah, you got some Nazis, and yeah, that's. See, it was I actually -2 stars for Nazis, but then I added 1 for boobs, so we're at 4 now.
Let me look real quick. No, that math checks out.
That checks out. 5 minus 2 plus 1, 4. Yes. So I give it 4. Overall, I think it's a great movie, and then also too is like just to think that like if it's the first, if you didn't, or if you didn't have Slapshot, you wouldn't have Mighty Ducks. You wouldn't have all the other movies that that came after it. So it was a great trailblazer, and I think that it was good. And then hockey wise, yeah, I got to go like 4.5 or yeah. I mean, like you said, 5 is Miracle, but like
This was the 70s.
this is true.
I would argue it's more impressive than Miracle.
I'm gonna go 5, yeah, because it's all fast paced. It's there's no dull moments. It's and it keeps you engaged the entire time, and it's pretty accurate. So yeah, I'd go with that. So
To clarify, more impressive than Miracle in that in 1976, accomplishing Slapshot, that's the part. Because I still think Miracle the gold standard, but
yeah, what year did Miracle come out?
04? 03, 04?
I'm going to confirm now, but that sounds right.
Yeah.
Miracles from 04, yep.
So 30 years prior, I'd say that,
I mean, it's impressive. And, like, going into this, having not watched Slapshot in years, like, I didn't remember that the hockey is relatively impressive. So, yeah, that was a nice surprise.
Same, yeah. I just remembered the Hansen Brothers, and coming out of it, they're still my favorite parts, so... And dreamy Paul Newman. That's
Yeah, I mean, I get why the Hansen Brothers are what especially kids walk away with.
For sure.
So for me, yeah, I mean, as a movie, I'll give it 4 apple pies. And yeah, the hockey, I mean, right, like I want Miracle to set the standard as a 5, but like I'm really impressed that, like you said, that it's the 70s. So yeah, I think I'm gonna go with 5 rhubarb pies for it.
I love it.
I mean, good for 4 and 5. Yeah.
I have a feeling I'm just going to give everything 5 stars every movie we do because I love watching them. They're fun.
I know that I'm not, but oh, and yeah, the random Nazi symbol like definitely is what they went from a 5 to a 4 on the top level. I mean, it's also like very cruel and like hateful in some ways, but it's also very loving and has camaraderie. So yeah, it's a good movie overall.
Yeah, it can't be too ahead of its time. Like something's got to drag it back down to the present.
Yeah, it has to snap you back into the 70s. Something has to. If you feel good for too long, then it just it didn't do its job.
But yeah, this was fun. I think this was a great first one of these to kind of figure it out, and Proton was the perfect person to go down this road with. This I'm glad I had a reason to watch this again because it was a very positive experience.
Agreed. Yeah, it was. It's a lot of fun. I can't wait to do all the other movies. So I'm just kidding.
And for the listeners, it's off Netflix at the end of September in the US. So whenever this comes out, get on it fast.
Yeah, I had to Google it And then I saw that it was like leaving soon or whatever. So I was like, oh shit.
Well, Netflix, get on board with this hockey watch, please.
And Netflix, if Slapshot is leaving, I know there's another movie that's out there that you could probably replace it with.
Yeah, I think maybe toss us a few milli. I think that'll seal a deal. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, they're real spendy these days. I mean, I certainly enjoyed dissecting Slapshot.
Yeah, thanks for asking.
Paul Newman's a legend. Proton's a legend. Everybody go watch the late game now.